topic: psychology of people who dream big but do nothing. Have you ever met someone who talks about a completely different life, bigger career, more money, more freedom? They picture it so clearly, it almost feels real. They believe they're capable of it. But years pass, and somehow nothing actually moves. It's not laziness, and it's not a lack of intelligence. Psychology says these people aren't broken. They're stuck in a quiet loop the brain rewards on purpose. The dream feels safer than the doing. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it in yourself or anyone else. 1. The brain confuses imagining with achieving. When you picture success in vivid detail, your brain releases a small hit of satisfaction. It tags the goal as already handled. Psychologists call this an effective forecasting failure. The mind treats the fantasy like real progress. So the biological urgency to start quietly disappears. The more vividly you visualize, the less you actually move. That's why the most detailed dreamers are often the slowest doers. 2. Perfectionism is fear wearing a nice outfit. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect moment, the perfect version of themselves. But the Polish isn't about quality, it's about avoiding judgment. In clinical psychology, this is maladaptive perfectionism. If you never start, you never fail. And as long as the dream stays untouched, it stays flawless in your head. The standard isn't excellence, it's protection. 3. They protect potential instead of testing it. As long as the dream lives in their imagination, they could still be the person who pulls it off. But trying makes it real. Real means it can fall short. Psychologists call this self-handicapping, withholding effort, so failure can never disprove the gift. The cost is invisible, but the cost is the dream itself. They'd rather stay someone who could have than risk becoming someone who tried and didn't. 4. Planning feels like progress. They read the books, they watch the videos, they build the perfect Notion page and the perfect morning routine. The brain rewards research the same way it rewards real work. Same dopamine, none of the risk. Cognitive psychology calls this confusing thinking with doing. Productivity becomes the most sophisticated form of procrastination they own. The plan keeps getting better. The work keeps not happening. 5. Action conflicts with their identity. They've spent years calling themselves a dreamer, a creative, the smart one who hasn't found their thing yet. Doing the boring beginner work threatens that label. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. The mind quietly rejects actions that don't match its self-image, so they drift back to comfort. The identity wins, the dream loses, and the cycle resets tomorrow with the same speech to the same friend over the same coffee. Here's the part nobody says out loud. The gap between dreaming and doing isn't a willpower problem. It's a protection problem. Your brain is guarding the safety of potential against the vulnerability of effort. The fix isn't a better plan or a stricter routine. It's letting yourself be a beginner today, while the dream is still imperfect, while the work is still messy. That's where real movement starts. So the question isn't, what's your dream? The question is, what would you start if you knew you'd be average at it for a year? If you enjoy learning the hidden psychology behind everyday human behavior, subscribe to the channel. Because once you start understanding how the mind really works, you begin noticing things about people and about yourself that most others completely miss.